Hello, welcome to this training video on Beyond Value Chain Mitigation as part of the Corporate Net Zero Standard version 2 public consultation. My name is Alice Farrelly and I'm a subject matter expert on Beyond Value Chain Mitigation and Neutralization at the Science Based Targets Initiative, or SBTi. Today's presentation will cover the key updates being made to Beyond Value Chain Mitigation as part of the Corporate Net Zero Standard revision. The draft standard creates an option for companies to obtain additional recognition for Beyond Value Chain Mitigation, or BVCM, provided they meet necessary criteria. This differs from the previous version of the standard, in which BVCM was a recommendation for companies. The reason we are proposing this update is that during the transition to net zero, companies continue to release emissions while they work to implement their science-based targets. We call these ongoing emissions. Since these ongoing emissions are a primary driver of negative climate impact, it's important for companies' credibility to take responsibility for them. This update aims to provide a stronger incentive for companies to mitigate the impact of ongoing emissions through BVCM as they progress towards their science-based targets. And by including this as an optional leadership practice rather than a mandatory requirement, the SBTi aims to remain inclusive for companies with varying resources while offering recognition for those who can and want to go above and beyond to demonstrate enhanced climate leadership. Within the draft standard, we present proposed criteria that companies seeking additional recognition for addressing ongoing emissions must meet in order to be eligible for recognition. And I'll talk you through the proposed criteria now. The first eligibility criterion is related to the coverage of emissions addressed. Companies will need to address ongoing emissions within a set boundary, and two options are proposed for consultation. The first is that total ongoing Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions are addressed, and the second is ongoing Scopes 1 and 2 plus a portion of Scope 3 emissions, with the portion to be refined further in the consultation. The second eligibility criterion is the scale of contribution. Companies will need to deliver an appropriate scale of beyond value chain mitigation, and the next slide will provide more detail on the proposed option for this. The third eligibility criterion is the type of contribution. Companies will need to contribute to BVCM through appropriate mechanisms, and by mechanisms we mean the way in which a company delivers BVCM. For example, this could be through carbon credits, direct financing, or conservation of ecosystems. Appropriate mechanisms and guardrails will be determined in the consultation. The fourth criterion is the timeframe for contribution. Companies will need to contribute to the appropriate scale and type of BVCM within a set timeframe. Two options are open for consultation: yearly BVCM contributions and BVCM contributions at the end of each target cycle. The fifth eligibility criterion is related to progress against targets. To ensure that decarbonisation remains the priority, companies seeking additional recognition for BVCM will need to demonstrate progress against their science-based targets. There are two options open for this criterion that will be determined through consultation. The first is that the company has achieved its science-based target in full, and the second option is that the company has made meaningful progress against their science-based target. And what constitutes meaningful progress will be explored further as part of the consultation. Returning to the question of scale of contribution required for companies to receive additional recognition for BVCM, the SBTi's proposed approach for this is the money for ton approach. This is based on the current best practice recommendation in the SBTi's BVCM Above and Beyond report, which was itself informed through an extensive development process involving public consultation and working with an expert working group. In this approach, a science-based carbon price is applied to ongoing Scope 1, 2, and Scope 3 emissions. The resulting financial budget is contributed towards BVCM in line with the BVCM goals of delivering additional near-term mitigation outcomes to help achieve a significant emission reduction in the near term, and delivering finance to scale up nascent solutions and unlock the systemic transformation needed to achieve net zero by 2050. As part of the consultation, we will assess stakeholder support for integrating this approach within the revised standard. That concludes the overview of Beyond Value Chain Mitigation in the revised standard. To summarise, the draft standard introduces a new framework for companies to be recognised for BVCM beyond the previous standard's recommendation. The criteria to gain additional recognition for BVCM each have several options open for consultation. For more information on the proposals presented today, please refer to the draft standard and our website. We welcome all stakeholders to please fill out the public consultation survey and provide your feedback on the draft Corporate Net Zero Standard version 2. We'd also like to encourage you to fill out our video feedback form to help shape our future communications about the Corporate Net Zero Standard revision. And both links can be found on our website and in the video YouTube description. Thank you for joining me today.